Okay, 5:33 p.m. It is January 2nd, 2020. I have to say that slowly because I'm taking it in that it's actually the new year. It's really hard. And I meant to, go out today and get a calendar at the dollar store, but because I'm not working right now, I can't just get in the car and use gas whenever I want to. So I'm just playing it cool. So anyway, I made a video earlier. I don't know if I uploaded it or not. Maybe I need to check and see if I did. If not, then I will upload it later. But anyway, um, I take my breaks, and I'm not looking for work at this time. I mean, like this hour. I spent some time earlier today, and I feel as though I wanted to address a few things here about where I was working and, the issues relating to my employment and whatever. As you know, I'm divorced. I've been divorced for over a year. And I do believe that the last place that I worked may have been arranged by, um, my ex family or whatever. And I will say that my ex husband, who I don't believe was my ex husband, had something to do with this particular job. And, I'm not trying to raise hell or anything, but when you make an effort to get a divorce, that means that you want to be separated from them and you don't want to have anything to do with them. You don't, I mean, it should be over. Obviously, I've stated several times that there was differences in how we saw things. Obviously, it's silly for anybody to think that I'm just going to shrug my shoulders and accept this person in my life. If I had to interact with him, I would not want to interact with him. I would be like kind of grossed out by him. I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. It's just that, I feel as though this situation has been, it should have never happened. Once I made it very clear that I didn't want to be married anymore, then it should have been respected. It should have been respected. And I'm not, in any way interested in resuming a relationship with him. Okay. I don't want to see him again. I don't want to talk to him again. I don't want anything to do with him or his mom. And it's not trying to be offensive. It's just that, some people, like I said, just like my mother, if all these people were like my ex-family, like siblings and stuff like that, and then you take my ex-husband or whoever he was, right, his family, which I really don't know them very well. Of all the people, then I would say that my at least could tolerate my mother. Okay, if I'm going to walk out on my mother and sever ties with her 100%, like I don't even want to deal with her anymore, then of course these other people, I can't feel anything for them. You know what I mean? What I feel towards them is, this need to just say goodbye, and it's better for me. I mean, I don't. What happened here is I had stated that that the issues or human trafficking was a bad thing to do. You should never do something like that. You should never interfere with other people's employment. And if somebody was going to interfere with my employment, then not that I wanted them to, but then that should have been my blood relation, not my ex-husband or whoever he was. You know what I mean? After you get a divorce, you're divorced. And to me, that it really it disturbs me on so many levels why somebody would do something like this. Also, I think the reason why I was terminated from my previous employer is because of reasons that are illegal. Could have been my hair issue, could have been the fact that I had made a statement saying that, I get irritated by, people looking at me eating apples and stuff. And like I mentioned before, um, I'm not somebody who, I'm not a hellraiser. I mean, I'm just not. I just want It's important that I make a break from my past. It's important that I not have any sort of association with people that abused me, you know? And, and I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I mean, like, when, when I think of, this situation, like, I had made attempts to go on my own and do whatever. And seriously, I mean, like, if I can't work in accounting again, then okay, whatever. I'll work whatever job I can get that I can actually handle, that I can physically handle, that I have some sort of experience in, or something. I can't, you know, that's fine, really, because I really have been doing a lot of thinking about, I mentioned how topsy turvy things are, and how it's not really worth it. I mean, it's not worth it when you think of the kind of abuse you have to deal with, the constant stress. And I'm getting older, and I would say that this has taken a toll on me. Like, I really just don't want to deal with that drama. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with the pop quizzes from hell. I don't want to deal with any of that, And what I want is just something that's going to be able to sustain me, and that's it. Something that I can just go to work in, and come back. That's it. I mean, I really, I did have talents, and I did have things that I was really enthusiastic about, but I understand how the world works. So, why devote myself to that? I don't know if it would really be appreciated. And so, I just want to make a break from my past and forget what's happened. I don't want to, encounter any of the people that I had to deal with. Like, I don't. And I do believe that, there was a situation in place where they wanted me to get back together with my my ex-husband or whatever, and that is not something that I would even consider an option. I would not consider that an option. And the reason why is because I've already explained it. I wanted to leave my ex-husband, and then I believe, maybe his family, along with my ex-family, got together and decided that they wanted to keep me in this relationship, maybe because it benefited them in certain ways. But I would have never agreed to something like that. I would have never agreed to something like that, especially after all that stuff has gone on. So I'm not trying to be, mean or whatever. And I understand people have their lifestyles and their ways of living, their beliefs, and their whatever. And I'm not trying to squash it. I'm just saying I don't want it. You know what I mean? I don't want it. And I wasn't given an option to say whether I wanted it or not. And so, right now I realize, I'm an older woman, so I'm just, God knows how long I've had on this earth. I have no idea. So I just want to be able to take care of myself and enjoy the last few years without people that I don't care about. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but I can't care about people who've taken so many years away from me. It's illogical to think that, it just is. So, I don't have any warm feelings of those people because I don't know them, and after everything that's happened, I don't want to. I'm terrified of people who would do something like this. It's barbaric and it's sick, and so moving on from that, I've been working for many years in my life, so I'm just trying to find something that is kind of local, and something that I can work at and come home, and devote my time there, and at least, feel okay in it, and then just come home. Because I think my situation is very unfortunate because of my ex-brother-in-law and his unrealistic expectations. Some people think that just because you're family, or somebody considers them family, that it's okay to make deals with these people. It's okay to, have form unions and bonds with people, but not all the time. Not all the time. You see, not everybody. See, I don't. Maybe my ex family didn't know that I didn't really have a close relationship with my ex husband's family, or even knew them. Maybe they didn't care. Maybe they just thought, well, everybody's trustworthy. Everybody can be a part of this, or whatever. I don't know. I really don't know. I certainly would have never asked anybody to find me a job, especially the kind of job way out there, in the middle of, it's not appropriate. And I think the reason why I was terminated is because I had made a video expressing my frustration of the mistreatment that I had received, and then suddenly the same day I ended up getting discharged from my job. See, this is why I prefer to work for employers that are competent and employers that are going to adhere to certain laws and guidelines, because when you work for companies like where I was working, somebody who doesn't, they may not have an HR department, maybe they don't, okay, but they should know when they've been watching your videos, okay, because everybody, when you are gang stalked, they watch your videos, okay. They watch your videos. They know that you are disturbed by the people who are doing this to you. They know it, but that they continue to do it, and they continue to allow it to happen. And that's very disturbing to me. I'm not a threat to anybody's relationship. Now, whether this was, now it could have been my ex-husband, I guess. I don't even know what to call him, okay? But I'm trying not to mention names. But if it was his family, my ex-family, or perhaps even the people that I went from high school's ex-family, or family, sorry, their family, this particular group of people, the reasons why I continually get terminated are for reasons that are illegal. They violate my rights as a human being. And so if it's an issue of like a love quarrel or something weird like that, I try to stay out of that, and I've made every effort to make a statement that I don't want to be any part of the drama. And the problem is that they continue to tack on. And they do it with this intent of like doing something. And this, whether it be my ex-husband or whether it be the guy from high school or whatever, when you do things like this with the intent of trying to lure somebody in for reasons like whether it be marriage or whatever, you are obviously breaking the law. And I'm the one who's affected, because I can't see myself being married to somebody like Joel again. I mean, my ex-husband. I mean, whoever he was, okay? I don't know, but I can't see that. Or having any sort of relationship or any sort of friendly exchanges, because I see these people in a completely different light. There are people that I'm disturbed by. I'm disturbed by who these people are. I am. And I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. It's just that, that's too weird for me. That is way too weird for me. And I respect other people's rights and their beliefs and whatever, but that's something I can't accept. I just can't, So I wanted to kind of say that, because that's just been on my mind. And I know I've said it before, but I said it before, and look what happened. You know what I mean? It's just constant. I'm not interested in dating Joel or whoever he was, or Steven at this point. I'm just upset that all this stuff like happened to me. Like it literally caught me off guard. It took me by surprise. It literally like just happened. Like it was just something that I had no idea that was going to ever happen. And I would have, if somebody told me this is what we're going to do, I would have said, please don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want that. That's not what I want. And it's not what I want. It's not what's good for me. It's not good for these other people either. Because believe me, I don't like sitting here making videos and throwing out names and stuff like that and whatever. But when you're dealing, nobody else recognized this as a trafficking issue except for me. No one did. You know what I mean? And they never thought for 1 minute that what they were doing was wrong or illegal. You know what I mean? And it's not just a family. You know, religious views do not supersede the law. They don't. They don't. They do not supersede the law. Okay? And there is no reason why somebody would do this biblically or, you know, based on the law or whatever. If it was based on biblical things, you know, the fact is that I would that particular relationship that I had with my so-called ex-husband would be null and void, because, you know, according to the Bible, if somebody goes out, if he was with his whatever, if he was with her, then that would make it null and void if it was so, if you so choose it to be. Like some people, if they have another relationship outside the marriage, they could choose to forgive, or they have every right to get divorced if they want to, and that's the biblical, that's the scriptural view of it. And so I think, you know, I'm just not accepting of that. I'm not, okay? I'm not accepting of that. Not for me. So, you know, I don't even know what else to say about that. But, you know, as far as work is concerned, you know, I guess, you know, I mean, I understand. We are living in a completely different time than we were back in the 90s and the late 80s, where, you know, things were cool. Things were really cool back then. People had like opportunities, and things are different now. I mean, everybody wants a fucking bachelor degree for the stupidest shit, right? And but I remember when I first came to this town, it wasn't like that. And I know that when all this stuff blew up, suddenly it became an issue because people wanted me out of my field. My ex-family wanted me out of my field, and for reasons, once again, for reasons that were illegal. You know, you can eat apples at your desk all day long. If, of course, you know, some people have designated snack areas, then you go eat your days. But see, when you work by yourself, you can pretty much eat whatever you want, anytime, at any time. You know, I never thought that, you know, that would make somebody angry, but I can assure you, I'm not interested in going back or having a relationship with him. If I was to encounter him in person, I would step away and get as far away as possible. I would never be warm or loving or caring towards him. I can't feel that way. You know, I can't. And it should be understandable, because, you know, he didn't respect my will, and, you know, it is what it is, you know. I guess right now, this hour, I'm not really thinking about work right now. I'm thinking, well, because tomorrow, I mean, every day I have to get up and do this whole thing, you know, because I'm going through this whole issue of, okay, well, then you have to accept the fact that this bullshit happened. I can't change what happened, okay? And I can't sit here and, like, try to get back in my field, because right now, I've been out of my field for so long that there's certain things, you know, if somebody sat me at the desk and gave me the work, I would be able to process it fine, okay? But there's certain things that I, you know, have been blocked out of my mind, like, or certain things. Like yesterday I took a test, right? And the test was like 8 minutes, and I was trying to find a calculator, and as I was looking for the calculator to you know, subtract, like it was like this little equation. It switched to the other, what do you call it, the other question. It just kept switching over and over and over again. I'm like, you know, I don't have time for this. It's too frustrating, and they've made it that way on purpose. They've made it that way on purpose to continually, you know, detour me from any sort of things that I want to do. And so, and that's wrong, okay? Once again, it's a form of this human trafficking stuff that I personally suspect is, okay? And if it's not, well then, you know, I don't want to deal with the drama. I don't. I mean, I only have so much time, and I need to get moving. I need to, you know, take care of things. I can't sit here and, like, add more stress to myself. It's just better for me to find something, whatever I can find, than deal with, you know, stuff that's just going to constantly put me more stress, especially on the timelines that I'm looking at, okay? Because what happened to me was completely unfair. You know what I mean? And then again, and that's what happens when you work for employers that do not adhere to employment practices, okay? They don't adhere to certain employment practices, and that's wrong. That is so wrong. You know, and it should be respected. You know, if somebody doesn't want to be around you, or they don't want to have a relationship with you, respect that. Because you're not going to get anything positive from associating with somebody who doesn't want to be around you or like you. You know what I mean? I think, what happened to me was obviously a hate crime. It was a hate crime. Because, getting angry, or maybe she thinks that I want him back. I wouldn't want him back. I wouldn't want him back. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. Even if he broke down crying, because I would never be able to trust him ever again. I would never be able to trust him again. So it's like, just keep your distance. Just keep your distance. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all I want to say. I do need to get out of the house tomorrow, and I will pick up a dollar calendar tomorrow, because I desperately need one. And it is. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around the 2020 thing. Come August, I will be in this town for 20 years. And but I've been off and on. Like, I've been I went over to the Alamo Valley, bounced over there, and came back over here off and on. But it will be 20 years. And in this 20-year time period, I will say that, my gosh, I would say these people, my ex-family, whatever, they have literally, worn me down. So I'm not going to talk about them anymore, but I am just mostly my focus right now is finding any job that I can do, that I can fit into. I can't be overly picky right now. I don't know when I'm going to be eligible to actually retire. I'm not sure. I have to dig out my Social Security information, because I don't know when I will be eligible for something. I think 62. I would hate to take an early retirement, but I have no choice. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't even know what's available to me. But I will tell you, I'm tired of the constant worrying about work. I'm tired of it. I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to sit here and stress out about, how I'm going to take care of myself, especially when I never asked these people. I never asked any of these people to come into it. I never asked to work under certain guidelines that were outside of federal and state law. Everything that I do is within those guidelines. You know what I mean? And I gave an example in my last video. I don't even know if I uploaded it, but I was basically saying, if I bought somebody a house, right, and they furnished that house in a certain design or motif that I wasn't particularly fond of, but see, they didn't know that I gave them the house, and so they were like, I told them to move in the house, do what they do, just like when you get to your job, you do what you do, you got your little skill, you do what you do your job, right? Well, you have this house now, go ahead and move in the house, and do what you do, whatever. And so this person moved in the house, and then they decorate the inside as well as the outside with all of their favorite art designs, which are something that I don't particularly like, right? And then all of a sudden, I get the neighbors, I tell the neighbors, oh, look at them. They got that design over there. I can't stand it. And then their neighbors start pestering them and badgering them and everything, and then they're forced to leave the house, because there's an issue going on in the neighborhood where people are getting angry at this person because they moved into their house, as a renter or whatever, not knowing that the person that they knew, me, was behind this opportunity to move in. They didn't know that I would prefer them to decorate it in a different design or style, but they chose to do their way, as they should, okay? Because they're, according to rental law, they can decorate their house however they want to, as long as they have certain guidelines. Like some places say, well, you can't, hammer things into the wall or whatever. But they are following the guidelines based on certain rental agreements. You know what I mean? Laws or whatever within that law. Okay. And then all of a sudden I want to take the house back. I'm angry. I got everybody yelling at these people, and this person is dazed and confused. It doesn't even know anything. Does it seem logical for me to get angry at this particular person when they had no idea? They had no idea that the stipulation was that they could move in here, but they had to do things my way. No. and they don't even have an option to say whether or not they want that. That's wrong. You are depriving a person of their basic right. And it's illogical. It's completely illogical. And so this is why employers have these laws. I mean, state laws have them, state, federal, and it's based on employment law. Like, you're not supposed to have like anything based on coercion. You're not supposed to do anything related to employ people based on their marriage, so on and so forth. And that is wrong. It's wrong. You know what I mean? Discrimination based on sexual. That's a part of sexual harassment. Like, if somebody's eating apples at their desk and you're accusing them of, like, being hot to try. Is that the expression? And it's not. It has nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with that. I have a lot of pain in my joints and my body. A few weeks ago, I had what do you call it, a flare up? I call them flare ups. Like, the bottoms of my feet start flaring up. My legs flare up. Sometimes my muscles, they get tense. Okay, they get very, very tense. And I try to modify that with food. I do. I try to modify it with food, and it does work. I know certain things. Like, I've been experimenting with certain things, like eating certain things at certain times, and it actually helps. Like 2 weeks ago, I had a flare up, right, and it was pretty bad. I don't know what it is. What do you call it? Maybe if I went to a doctor, somebody would identify it. I don't know what it is, but I have these issues. So, and I somehow am able to. I somehow know how to. I don't know how. Maybe it's a gift. Who knows? But I know how to regulate things in my body. You know what I mean? And so that helps. And I get tired when people accuse you, or you create group harassment, saying, well, this person's doing it for this particular reason, and when they have every right to. You know what I mean? That's a sexual harassment issue, because you're basically saying that this person's doing it for the particular reason of this, and it's creating a hostile environment. And it's not. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. As a matter of fact, where I worked, where the last place I worked, I rarely saw anybody. But I do like, when I go to work, I prefer wearing office attire, because it's just what I'm used to doing. I'm just used to doing it. You know what I mean? I'm used to dressing with it. And so my days used to suck at that job, but at least, you know what, I felt okay, because I felt somehow it gave me a sense of normality, a little sense of being normal. You know what I mean? It didn't make me feel like crap going to that job totally. You know what I mean? And I really did not like working there. I didn't. Okay. And I can't even understand how this particular employer, my previous employer, was actually convinced to go along with something like that. Like, he should have realized from the minute that I started making these videos, which I do believe he knew what these videos were about. He should have understood that what he was doing was wrong. Like, it would hurt my conscience to go along with something like that. I would never allow myself to go along with something like that. I have certain morals and standards, and if I knew somebody was doing this to another human being and I'm complying with it, can I have respect for that person? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I mean, it's kind of hard for me too. And I'm not trying to raise a ruckus. I'm just saying is, like, you can create so much damage on a person. You know what I mean? And when a person said, hey, you're messing with my employment, please stop it, and you continue to do it, and then you take steps to divorce yourself from that person, and you've made it clear, like, you're well aware of who these people are, and you just want to break clean. Okay, and if perhaps maybe these people helped me in the past by getting me jobs, like maybe they got me a job, accounting job, a long time ago, and now they feel like, well, we want to just go ahead and we just, rather you not take advantage of all the skills and expertise that you gained at this particular job, because we gave it to you and we want to reel it back in. Okay, if you want that, it's illegal and it's wrong. But you know what? I'm not going to sit here and argue about that. If you want it, then I guess whatever, have it. It's wrong. It's 100% wrong, because that was my labor that went into it. And so I'm entitled to go on with my life, okay? And I know it's very hard right now, because employers are really icky-picky and nitpicky nowadays. And now, all of a sudden, because when I first moved here, Those stipulations weren't there. I mean, certain jobs had bachelor's degree required them, but right after I left the farmer's place, then all this bullshit started happening. You know what I mean? So I know that there's a situation in place, and I'm not dumb. You know what I mean? But one thing is for sure, if that's what you want, if this is what you're bitching about, then I'm not going to sit here and fight you for it. Because I would rather just go ahead and say, go ahead and have it. If that's what you want, have it. I'll find something else to do. There's got to be something else for me to do. Then I'll find something else to do. Because I'm not going to sit here and I don't want attachments. I don't want the attachment. I don't want the attachment of feeling like if I do something, that I'm doing it for this particular person, that I'm working for this particular person, or I'm going to work these jobs to have a certain connection with these people. I shouldn't have a connection with any of these people. You know what I mean? Now, if these people put me in a bind, such as these employers that got involved with it and supported these people, not fully understanding what the whole picture was, then they owe it to me to clear my name so I don't have this dirty reputation of being what I think some people thought that I was, that was associated, because I'm not associated with that. I don't believe in that sort of lifestyle. Not to offend anybody, I just don't believe in it. Okay? So they owe me that. Okay? But if you're bitching about the accounting thing, go ahead and take the accounting thing. Take it. You know what I mean? But the only thing is that, I still worked there. Now, I will not apply for any accounting jobs unless one falls out of the sky for me. If it falls out of the sky for me, then I can't complain. But I'm not going to sit here and try to overcome all this bullshit because, I'm playing, or the playing field's not fair. Which is what I believe that it is anyway. So I don't believe that it is. I don't believe it's fair at all. So anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to say, because the only thing I care about right now is not dealing with people that abuse me. That's really all I care about. That's the only thing I care about. I don't want to have to see people that I don't care about. I don't want to have to associate with them. I don't want to be connected to these people. I don't want any of it. Because I will say this though, I know that when I first moved here, I was willing to roll my sleeves up and do the best job I possibly could, and I got completely off course. Some people invaded my space, and all this stuff happened, and I didn't need it. I really didn't. Everybody in this town knows by now that I didn't deserve what happened to me. I didn't deserve it. I really didn't. And so after 20 years of being in this town, and dealing with all this really ridiculous stuff, I'm just my God, my goodness, and things are hard nowadays. They're very hard right now. But I just, I realize that things aren't the way they used to be. You know what I mean? I was vigilant when I first moved here about what was available, what was not available, and now I understand that things have gotten manipulated, and it's wrong. It is wrong. I could see if I did something to hurt, that family, but I never did anything to hurt them. I only stood up for myself. You know what I mean? I only stood up for myself after I understood what was going on. So, anyway. I am going to have a snack tonight. Then I'm going to roll up into bed and I'm going to fall asleep and get up and plug away and just continue to plug away until I can, plug away no more like I did earlier. And it's like I said, I have no idea. But I'm not a part of that family. I don't want to be associated with that family. It's not to hurt anybody's feelings. It's not. I'm not trying to hurt people's feelings. It's just that, you have to understand, not everybody is going, some people have reasons not to forgive. They have reasons not to forgive. And I have a reason not to forgive. And it should be respected, at least last time anyway. Wrapping up this video. Be back with another video sometime later. Bye-bye.